Welcome to the Multi-Orgasmic Mama podcast, where sexual taboos are broken. I'm Tilly Storm, holistic sex coach and jade egg and tantric sex teacher. I work with luxury lovers, teaching them the art of better sacred sex by helping them remove all their blocks to pleasure, turn on confidence and connection, so they can step into their fullest potential and power as humans and alchemists in the 3D. If you'd like to learn how to release shame and guilt destroying your sex life so you can feel fully sexually liberated and free, you can access my How to Release Shame and Guilt training at www.tillystorm.com/shame. This episode is brought to you by the Sensually Embodied Woman Collective. If you're ready to remove all your blocks to pleasure, turn on and feeling confident and sexy in your body through my paid programs and offerings, then head to www.tillystorm.com today. How do I make friends as an adult? I want to find my soul family. As a 37-year-old who's lived in so many different cities since I had babies when I was 23 years old, I've become quite good at meeting people as soon as I arrive in a new community or a new city. Sadly, you've probably recognized this already, but the older you get, the harder it is to make friends, isn't it? It's so freaking sad. You know, like you look at your kids and all they do is go to a park and it's like, you know, you want to play? And then all of a sudden they're off having the best time of their life and being friends. For some reason, it's so easy for kids to do, but it becomes harder the older we get because the less likely we are to really put ourselves out there, or we become so busy, or we just don't make it a priority. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 steps to making friends as an adult. So one of the things that's so important about having your soul family and that being a big part of your life is that you know that you can go to them for support to celebrate your biggest wins and to be all of who you are without feeling that you have to shrink yourself or you have to make it seem smaller than it actually is. Maybe something amazing happened to you. Sometimes when you go to your family to receive appreciation and celebration around certain things, it's like maybe you've achieved more than they were able to. Maybe like, you know, your parents in particular. And sometimes like that feeling that we can't fully celebrate all of who we are and all of our desires and accomplishments and goals around our family, it actually serves to keep us small because we can't fully digest our own greatness. So an example of this is that, well, I run a multiple 6-figure business as a holistic sex coach, and my family is still very Baptist, okay? So do you think I go to my Southern Baptist family and really talk about what I do and really look for their celebration and all of I've accomplished? Well, of course not. I've done a lot of work around family dynamics and really getting in touch with my own inner masculine and feminine and also finding my own soul family, because I realized that sometimes your family can't give you all of the celebration and the support that you need because your values are different or they're just not able to. And that is okay. You don't need your family to be your everything, right? That's why you have friends. Those are your chosen family. So you need to find your soul family who will celebrate you. And I know where I can go to celebrate my career success. I know who I can go to celebrate how far I've come and breaking through generations of negative sexual conditioning and repression. But do you think I'm going to go to my family for that? No, of course not. And I don't need that either. I have my own soul family and my own friends to celebrate me in that. And I consider them my chosen family. So how can you find your soul family in this way as well, even as an adult? Here are my best ideas. The first one is to make it a priority. You have to nurture new connections and friendships. It's going to require that you prioritize this. Now, I I don't care if you're an introvert or not. If you want to make friends, you have to make it a priority and you're going to have to put yourself out there. And you're going to find every reason and excuse under the sun about why you don't have the time or the energy to nurture new friendships. But the truth is, there's always going to be more important things to do. But when you do them, who are you going to celebrate it with? Well, no one, unless you make this a priority. Maybe you have a partner and you can celebrate with them, but that gets old after some time, right? You want some girls, your own people, more people to celebrate it with. So reaching your greatest desires, it's not as fun if you don't have someone to celebrate them with. And the only way to find the people to celebrate them with is to make this a priority to find and discover your soul family. Okay, number 2, don't be afraid to speak and share your truth. You are going to repel people who aren't for you, and you're going to magnetize people who are. When I did an episode earlier this year on free speech in and out of the bedroom, what I was really doing was taking a stand politically speaking, which I don't normally do because so many things have been hyper politicized lately. But I'm glad that I did. I took a stand and I made it publicly known that this cancel culture bullshit has got to stop. And when we shut down other people's voices because we don't agree with how they think, we're actually being the oppressor instead of freeing the oppressed. And we just end up reversing any progress we ever made on the road to equality in the first place. So as a political centrist, I talked about it and I made some social media posts about it. And I had several women from New Orleans, which is where I live currently. They contacted me and told me that they were on the exact same train of thought. I used to think I was way more liberal than I actually am. And after everything last year happened, it was like, oh, no, some of this has gone too far. And I took a stand for it. And I knew that when I did that, some people would hate me for it and not ever want to listen to another word I said, which I was totally fine with that, by the way. And at the same time, I totally magnetized people that were more soul family to me. And, speaking up about these things, it can feel scary, especially if you have a big platform or you have a brand and, it's part of how you make money. But it's totally worth it in the end. So what do you think we did when these women reached out to me? Well, we got together and had dinner with several of them. And I would have never known that these were my people and my soul family if I had kept my mouth shut and I was too afraid to speak my truth. So when I spoke my truth that one time, it was like cracking something open, right? It made it so much easier to openly share about my views on the whole pandemic and my views on the medical system and how I'm always going to be someone who fights for body autonomy and freedom. And when I started speaking up for my greatest value, which is freedom, that's when I started attracting other people who held the same values as I did. And that felt, freeing. So don't be afraid to speak and to share your truth. Yes, some people aren't going to like you and they're going to fall away. They're going to go away. But you are also going to attract your people, your soul family more quickly. The third tip that I have for you is to go places where you're going to find people who like doing similar things as you. So maybe you're a new mom and you like to take your kids outside and be in nature. Well, obviously, if you want to make friends, you would go to the park, or you would go to nature hikes at your local nature center, or you would go to local breastfeeding support groups if you're into that, to find other women into that and who can support you as well. When I had babies, these are the things that I did. If you have older kids, you could volunteer at your kids' school to meet other parents or to go on field trips. I loved doing the field trips when my kids weren't private homeschool taught. So going on other field trips, I actually got to know the kids in my kids' classes, and I would kind of like facilitate some introductions or, try and get to know these kids a little bit more because I probably already knew who their parents were. And it was just easier to facilitate my friends or my kids making friends as well. and then me being able to meet the parents, which was always really fun. You also want to use the power of social media like Facebook or Google events to find things that interest you and to go with an open mind. Okay, just don't waste your time in places that you don't like to go yourself. Oh, before I move on, one other place that I've found that's really been amazing for meeting people or finding events to go to, where I'll find people of similar interests is meetup.com. It's starting to make a comeback with more in-person events now in the world. So I've seen meetup.com kind of blow up the last couple of weeks, at least where I live. So go check that out. I actually went to a crypto meetup a couple of weeks ago with my boyfriend where we met up with other people in the crypto community because, again, that's something that interests me and I like talking about it. So one thing that you really do want to avoid, though, is going places that you don't like to go yourself just because you think that's the only place you can meet people. And, you might already be onto something here, but yes, I'm talking about bars, okay? When people are dating, like in the dating world, there are so many women out there that believe the only place to meet men is at a bar, which is total fucking bullshit. Okay. That drives me nuts when I hear women say that because it's not true at all. You don't have to go to bars to make friends either. So if you're someone who goes to bed at 9 p.m. like I do, even on the weekends, because you wake up at 6 a.m. every day without fail, then you probably don't want to go out late night to bars and clubs to meet friends because the people who are doing those things are the ones that probably like to do that on the regular. Okay. And I am someone who because I go to bed early and I wake up really freaking early, I like to do more activities around yoga, meditation, going out in nature. If I'm not in New Orleans and I'm at the ocean, like just exploring the ocean, going surfing, going snorkeling, going on hiking trips to go see waterfalls, like that's what lights me up. That's where I like to meet people. Those are the sorts of activities I like to do. So I would go on different activities with other people like that. And you can find meetup groups like on meetup.com of other people that go do similar things. So if you really want to start attracting people of similar interests that like to do similar things as you, then you got to be where they're going to be. And you don't have to continue this idea that people only go out drinking at night, because that's totally not true. Okay, now the fourth tip that I have is my favorite, okay, because I have found my soul family from doing this fourth thing. Pay to play. I know it doesn't sound very sexy or fun, but the most supportive and aligned friendships I have ever made were from communities that I paid to join. It's true. It's so true. For example, I, for the first time in my adult life, found my people when I joined Layla Martin, who was my Tantra teacher and her professional sex love coaching training that I did. I found my people for the first time in my adult life there. I've made friendships for life through that program. And others have come from my business coaching community as well. I've had business coaches for, as long as I've been in business, and I have made friends with other coaches who also travel all over the world and live epic lives, who live full out and who don't settle for less than the most epic life ever. Those are the people that I want to be around, and those people pay to play. Okay. So I'm also in 2 membership communities, and I've been in more, but I'm currently in 2. And I pay anywhere between $30 and $1,000 a month just to be in other people's communities where we can network, we can cross-pollinate each other's audiences, and I've found soul family there. But, I've paid for it. But it's always been worth it in the end, because you know what else has happened? I've always found clients and gotten clients from being in other people's communities too. So it always pays back, So you can always join a community like my Essentially Embodied Woman community. We now have an accountability sister component where you're paired with another sister in the program and you do weekly calls with her. And I've had women become best friends and fly across the country to meet their new bestie from joining my program. So yes, it does pay to play. Another thing is you can also go on retreats, especially if you're someone who doesn't like the bar scene like me. Going on retreats is epic. I, again, meet the most soul-aligned friends and women who are on the same level as me just by going to other people's retreats. I love in-person experiences like that. And if you've never been on one, I highly recommend it. Oh, and I also always get clients every time I travel or go on retreats. So it's always paid me back tenfold to go do these things for myself and just to get that connection and community that I deeply desire. Okay, the fifth tip that I have is to be the host. If you want to find your soul family and to make friends as an adult, then you better plan on being the initiator and being the one to host things and to not fear rejection. So let's talk about that rejection thing real quick. I've had some friends that, it's like you invite them to do something and then maybe they don't respond or maybe they take several days to respond. You know those friends, right? Okay. Well, I've had plenty of those, and to be honest, this is a lot of people. Okay. I don't want you to feel like they're rejecting you because they aren't texting you back immediately, especially if they have young kids, right? If you're afraid of being rejected, just understand that rejection can be there, but also know that people are busy. Okay. And people sometimes read a text message, and they think, oh, I'll text them as soon as I can. And then they just forget. So don't be afraid to reach out, 2 to 3 times. After the third time, it might mean something, right? But at least, a second and maybe a third time to reach back out to that person and be like, hey, did you get my text? I'd love to meet up with you this week. So people are freaking busy, okay? Especially if they have young kids. So don't be afraid to ping them again. And yes, always be the initiator and host events at the capacity that you're able to. This will make it so much easier to make friends because then you're not waiting around for someone else to host or to invite you. If that's your strategy for making friends and finding soul family, good luck, because you're probably never going to find it. Okay? Be the initiator, host the event, and you're going to find your people way more quickly than if you just wait around for people to find you and to want to invite you to things. All right, Hot Mamas, those are my best tips for making friends as an adult and finding your soul family. So let's review the 5 steps real quick. Number 1, make it a priority. Number 2, don't be afraid to speak and to share your truth. Number 3, go places you'll find people who like doing similar things as you. Number 4, pay to play. Join an online group or community or go on a retreat. And number 5, be the host and initiator. All right, my loves, if you are ready to find your soul family, make sure you are on our email list. I have lots of freebies at www.tillystorm.com. If you sign up for any of those, you'll immediately be on our email list. So go ahead, get on it, and stay in touch with any of our programs and offerings, and hopefully an upcoming retreat that I would love to be able to put a deposit on when we go down to Mexico this summer. All right, my loves, see you all next week. Bye.